I hope you folks are proud of yourselves, because I'm not. Back at it again at Krispy Kreme, folks! Today we're reading something different from Titan 820, which is awesome, because I'm really sick of that guy. We're going to be reading something by Penguin Lover 1431. It's called Pinkie Pie's Toilet Spy. It was a request, and it's pretty cute. I'm a fan. I'm really into it. So, warning. Contains toilet fetish, fart fetish, and mild scat. Turn away now if that's not your thing. Empty bathroom? Check. Spare toilet? Check. Pinkie Pie? That should be changing shortly. You stare through the hole in the ceiling, having spied through the vents, eyeing the toilets. Being a girl's bathroom, of course, it is much cleaner and more pristine than the boys' bathroom. Within the next few minutes, the bathroom door opened and closed, and the next moment, the stall door opened, giving you a stunning view of one of the most popular Equestria girls in all the land, Pinkie Pie. Her long, curly pink hair bobbed up and down as she pranced with every step, completely carefree. She seemed to have a friend with her, but you could care less. You were just waiting to see when Pinkie Pie does her business. Could I be alone for a bit? Pinkie Pie asked her friend. I kinda need to... Say no more, her friend replied. You do your thing. Thankfully, her friend left the bathroom right away, just as Pinkie Pie finally closed the stall door. Here came the moment of truth. Walking up to the toilet, she turned around and pulled down her oversized skirt, showing off frilly little panties with a cutesy and familiar pony on one side. The bottom of her ass cheeks were sticking out of her panties, clearly a size too small for her. So needless to say, it was a good thing they were coming off. Finally, Pinkie Pie gleefully sighed. For about a minute, Pinkie Pie had peed into the toilet before it slowly came to a stop. You thought your fun was over until Pinkie Pie let out a massive fart, one much larger than a proper lady would give off. Ugh. She released... Oh shit, I skipped a whole section. No, we can't skip. Pinkie Pie continued to fart intensely into the toilet, which echoed throughout the otherwise empty bathroom. Good thing for Pinkie Pie's sake, too, because after a minute of continuous farts, the bathroom became consumed by an ungodly odor fitting only for outhouses. And that was just when she was farting. Soon enough, you heard a plop sound inside the toilet, followed by Pinkie Pie groaning. She released squeaky farts, followed by more plops in the toilet, and they got louder and more frequent. Soon enough, her farting and pooping got loud enough that the toilet started to vibrate with every reaction. Though the smell got progressively worse, you still got great enjoyment from watching. Most people would need a gas mask for this kind of odor, but you were willing to put up with it for as long as you got to see Pinkie Pie's naked butt, or her on the toilet. This time, it was both. After a few moments of nothing, Pinkie Pie, having breathed a sigh of relief, stood up and grabbed some toilet paper. Your first glance was at the mess she left behind. Brown water with poop floating in the middle. Who'd have thought something like that could come from such a regularly elegant girl? The next thing you saw was Pinkie Pie wiping between her cheeks with toilet paper, tossing the leftovers on top of the mess she made. After flushing it down, she began washing her hands, Good. And then you sneezed at the worst possible time. It wasn't a loud sneeze, but just loud enough for Pinkie Pie to hear. Looking up, she sees a pair of eyes peeking in through a hole in the ceiling. No sooner does she see you when she starts growling, her eyes turning into an icy glare. Knowing she was spontaneous enough to actually give chase, you started crawling away as fast as you could. You thought that you had lost her after a couple of left turns followed by a right, but apparently, no matter how curvy Pinkie Pie was, she wasn't so big she couldn't crawl through the vents at an alarming speed. It was only through sheer luck that she fell through one of the vents into the classroom below, much to the amusement of the other students. As you faintly hear Pinkie Pie trying to explain herself to the teacher, you crawl away more calmly, assured you got away safely. The next day came around with all being back to normal. Almost. Pinkie Pie seemed more distracted from her friends than usual, though definitely focused on something. When you walk past her, her face turns to meet yours, looking right into your eyes. But there's no way she could know you spied on her just from that, right? Wrong. During lunch break that day, you were walking down the hall only to be roughly yanked into the bathroom by a rather dainty pair of pink-nailed hands. You looked to see that it was, appropriately enough, Pinkie Pie who tugged you in. You guys really better appreciate what I'm doing here. You were there, weren't you? Asked Pinkie Pie. Don't play dumb, Pinkie Pie said. You've got the same scared-looking eyes as those peeper eyes, the ones watching me take a dump in the privacy of the ladies' room. You don't say anything yet, but her reminder makes you think back to the sight and smell of Pinkie Pie on the toilet, and you quickly notice the sudden bulge in your pants at the thought of it. Fucking A, dude. I'm gonna need to go to therapy. No way, she thought. You actually get hard to that? What's the deal with that? Well, it's... Do you have one of those fetish things? She asked. This time, she didn't sound angry. Not even upset. More like intrigued. Toilet fetish, you say to her. I like watching girls do their business. But you don't actually like the extreme stuff, asked Pinkie Pie. You're not into eating shit or anything like that. No, that shit's too hardcore for me, you say. Or, no pun intended. Just watching and smelling. That's what really turns me on. Pinkie Pie stared blankly into your face for what seemed to be the longest time. Finally, she put her head down and sighed. Well, she said, I suppose there are worse things to get hard off of. So you actually like when it gets... Yeah, you reply. Whew, she says. You'd be the first. Do you know how many times I've had to hold it in at parties or class just because I stink it up so much? It's embarrassing. What about at home? You asked. Oh, I'm so lucky I have a private bathroom in my room, Pinkie Pie exclaimed. No one else in my house has to know. So you won't tell anybody else about my bathroom habits, will you? And that's when you realized you could get something out of this. Only if I watch you the next time you do your business, you respond. What? Why would... Oh, right. That's your thing, she says. Usually, after lunch, during homeroom, at that designated time, after eating lunch, everyone except you two had gone back to their respective homerooms. You and Pinkie Pie were in the girls' room, and once you both were sure you were alone, she walked past you and was starting to unzip her skirt. You're not gonna ask to see my snatch or anything, are you? Asked Pinkie Pie. Not really, you reply. Not that I wouldn't from this view. Which is when, after pulling off her panties and sitting on the toilet, she placed her hands over her snatch, just far away enough so that she wouldn't pee on her own hands. Fortunately for her, she didn't once you heard the familiar sound of tinkling. You could see Pinkie Pie blushing a deep shade of red, visible even on her already pinkish skin. You moved in a little closer as it sounded like she was about to finish peeing. You hear a few small drips ripple on the toilet water as you notice her face squinting a little bit. Knowing the real action was about to start, you walked over to the side of the toilet and squatted down, having her thighs and most of her buttocks in your direct eyesight. You got even harder once you saw the way her cheeks would jiggle a tiny bit as she began farting into the toilet. Her farts echoed both in the toilet bowl and in the otherwise vacant bathroom. After a minute of her ripping farts, she seemed to have stopped doing anything while the familiar rancid smell began to fill the stall. "What's up?" you ask. Embarrassed, she looks at you and says, "I have to poop, but it's not coming out." Pinkie Pie spent the next couple of minutes trying to squeeze out something, anything, but with no luck. "You sure you have to?" "Yes, I'm sure," she replied. Well, you said? What about sitting opposite?" "Sitting opposite?" "You know, facing the other way," you said. "Something about the sphincter being straightened." Fucking sphincter! Whew! Come on. "Something about the sphincter being straightened out to let everything flow smoothly." "Not really. It was squatting that did that. You just wanted an excuse to see Pinkie Pie's big butt while she pooped." Fortunately, she believed you, and, in desperation, turned herself around so that she was now facing the wall and her booty was pointed toward you. Pinkie Pie attempted to push again, seemingly without luck. But, to your own surprise, it had helped. After a couple of heavy grunts and pushes, Pinkie Pie seems to have finally gotten started, as you heard the sound of two giant solid objects plopping into the toilet water. The bathroom began to fill with the familiar odor from last time as she continued to relieve herself in the toilet. The only thing greater than hearing her natural bodily functions was watching her bare behind squeeze everything out. Who would have ever thought that poop could come from an ass that fine? When it seemed as though she was done pooping, she finally started to resume normal breathing. After letting out one last fart, she got up and grabbed toilet paper from her left. Once again, you were watching her wipe her butt, only now you had a much better view, watching the meat of her cheeks get mushed up as she wiped the paper in her crack. You finally come to the realization that it was over when she pulled her panties and took her back up and then proceeded to wash her hands thoroughly. "I might regret asking this," Pinkie Pie said, walking out with you. "But did you enjoy what you saw?" "Very much," you reply honestly. "Just one thing, though." "What's that?" "I don't remember you flushing," you reply. Pinkie Pie stopped suddenly in her tracks, her face a crimson shade of red. You were right. She hadn't. She would have gone back to do so, but it was too late. A few girls had somehow made it in the bathroom when the two of you walked out and saw the mess that was made. Oh my word! God, that smell! Who does this? What did this girl eat? Whew! Stinky! The two of you backed away slowly, avoiding the small crowd gathering in the bathroom, Pinkie Pie desanctified. I'm gonna go kill myself. You're more than welcome to like, comment, and subscribe for more content of this nature. And you can do that whenever you want to, because it's just there for everybody to enjoy.